college football 25 is a failure, and not by EA standards. Of course, they're backing in multiple brink strikes every single day, but I mean it's a failure from what our expectations were. Now, I think we can argue that maybe our expectations, maybe I need to speak for myself, maybe my expectations were a little too high, but I think it's easy to say that a lot of our expectations are high. And how could it not be? 11 years of wait, supposedly 4 years of development. We were looking for something awe-inspiring and something that really transforms sporting as a whole. And now, while I will say I think this game is going to be undoubtedly the most fun playing a football and or sports game that we've had in the last 10 years, the bar's low, son. We've been subjugated to an awful 10 years of specifically sports simulation gaming with the likes of 2K, with the likes of EA. I mean, look at what EA did with their F1 game. Look at what the debacles with EA in the FIFA situation. I feel like EA has a long way to go to be able to reclaim really the placement as the golden era in the gold standard when it comes to sports simulation games, because college football 25 is just another example of the fact that they are just money printing companies. These aren't gaming companies anymore. They know exactly what to do. They know a few flashy names thrown into Ultimate Team. $100 to get you in early is just more than enough to have you locked in and hooked in for the rest of your day. So college football 25 is a failure for a few different things. And I think the biggest thing I want to talk about is the online experience, and not simply just the online game experience, but just the online really response to everything, because I feel like that's a better encapsulation of it. I'm not just going to sit here and talk about how broken it is to play defense in this game. I'm not going to tell you how everyone's spamming the same 2 to 3 teams. I'm not going to tell you how the spin button is absolutely destroyed and broken. I'm not going to tell you that, because you already know those things, but we will touch on those things and touch on the reasons why they really ultimately make college football 25 a failure as a game. Now, EA doesn't care, and we should have all been expecting this. And one of my first things that I have on my handy dandy notes here is something that I've alluded to in really the very beginning of this video, and it's that our expectations were too high, dog. I mean, I talked about the F1 game. And that's what really made me scared. This new F1 game, and the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because F1's super popular nationally, right? And this game dropped a few months before college football 25. And all the complaints I'm hearing is they just took something and ruined it for them. I'm not a big F1 guy. I'm not saying you need to be a big F1 guy, but just know they somehow ruined a movability in a type of driving that for some reason was already pretty good in a previous game. So I really think that the expectations of us when it comes to these yearly games is way too high. Like I said, these are money printers. If EA is going to sit and look us in the eye and tell us we had a NCAA 14, a game that was by all regards is not even the best NCAA. It was just the last one we had, and it was on the newer consoles at the time. So it wasn't even the pinnacle of the series. We kept that game alive for an additional 10 years because some people in a Discord modded it and made it to be a giant sandbox and really maximize what the game could be. You know, different issues with Dynasty and situations, fixing patches, fixing things, making the player models look a little smoother and sleeker. Like, there's so many things that this revamped team has done that I think messed up our expectations. We were sitting here for the last 10 years, specifically with college football, and I will say, and I think it's easily to say with a lot of people who played college football games in the past, when NCAA went away, we kind of stopped playing football games. I played Madden a few times. I played Madden mobile more than I have in these last 10 years, and I've played actual Madden. It's garbage. We know what it was. There's a few games every 5 years that are going to be half decent, and those are going to be the hallmarks of the game. And I can say that about 2K. I can say that about NBA Live 2000. I mean, back then, you know, actually, sadly, NBA Live went away at a time before it got really, really dark for the gaming industry. But that's what I really want to say. I want to harp on that too much. But a lot of people in the comments are talking about like, oh, y'all are expecting too much. Y'all are expecting too much. Why do I have it? And I will say you're right in some regards, but that does not excuse us being able to want something better. It doesn't excuse us having 11-year gap and assuming that what these modders have done, which is already great on a 10-year-old game, you would think that EA, the company with all these resources that's been inhaling other companies and game studios at will, you would think they'd be able to, I don't know, do something half decent, do something that would be quality in a different level. So I don't want you to think that I'm mad or even disappointed. I kind of expected this, like I alluded to. I've seen other games, but all of those things, having low expectations of someone does not mean that they are barred from criticism. You're still going to get this criticism, EA. You're not going to just release something, which they could have put less in this game, and there's not that much in this game, but they could have made this game even more bare bones, and we'd still be happy because of how fun the game is. I've talked about this in a few other videos. Just the idea of having 184, 34 teams, whatever that are in this game, just that alone adds countless amounts of more fun than the 32 teams Ultimate Team, the NFL can, right? So as we move on and move forward, we talked about the expectations. Again, y'all are right, but y'all aren't right to say it. We know that, but does not mean that we can't point these things out and say, hey, we ain't happy with it. Still a fun game though. Hey man, I'm gonna keep playing the game because I'll be having a good time. There's nothing wrong with having a good time. You know what I'm saying? Even with a broken game. Moving on. Like I was talking about. Before we even get into the main part of this, and the main part of this video is really going to have to be, like I said, the online interaction. And before I even get into the online, I have to say that they already ruined the offline portions of these videos. I've already made videos about Dynasty and Road to Glory and kind of how not only bare bones they are, but uninventive they are. They've taken a bunch of things away, and it seems the only thing they've added or throw away features that were already in Madden games. But again, I haven't been playing Madden on single player modes, and I only know 3 other people who've ever played Madden single player modes. Unless you're doing rebuilds and jumping up and down, I don't really think there's a lot of different options there. And I can really tell from the countless issues of Road to Glory, the fact that Dynasty in a game itself is just broken. Road to Glory might have some issues and it might be unfun, it might be missing things. Dynasty is just not functional. It just doesn't function the way it should be. So the fact that they somehow managed to screw up the core components of this game with a 4-year development cycle, that we should be scared of on our own. Again, we're gonna take a second to talk about Ultimate Team and online head-to-head and then speak on the community. But before we get into pure online talk, I want to say that the online reaction, based on your guys' comments, based on the comments in my videos, the general sentiments on the Twitters of the world, the Reddits of the world, in these different places where people are giving their opinions, it's that Dynasty and Road to Glory is not only just underwhelming, but it doesn't work, dog. We're having issues. People can't call audibles. They're 99 overalls, dominating teams, have a bunch of audible plays. Extra plays that can be called because of how terrible the coaching is, how terrible the play calling is. It's just like I don't, and these are very minuscule things, but these were the core parts of this game. And moving on and moving forward to the online portion of this game, which is just the full display of the disgustingness that is, EA and the disgustingness that is college football 25. And I don't mean this, I actually mean disgusting in a good way, because these clips is hilarious. These clips is crazy, but they go a far way, right? Like I get it when they talk about the unrealism and it's just people breaking tackles. I'm fine with that. That's hilarious. I like these crazy plays. The more crazy plays goes for entertaining times. It doesn't mean it's fun to lose in these ways. It doesn't mean it's fun to have broken stems and insane passes and all these craziness happening and double jukes and having fumbles that bounce twice and then get back to a person and people breaking 17 tackles. This man just had balls dragged across his face and somehow still made a tackle. It's just small things like that if I have to deal with online, we're going to have some real issues. But to get more specific, let's talk about the money-hungry elephant in the room, Ultimate Team. Ultimate Team was broken before they even released the game mode. Yeah, they had some issue where if you bought a certain pack and you bought it a bunch of times, you would get unlimited, I think 85s, 89s, whatever. I don't touch Ultimate Team since Madden Mobile. That's what all it took me to figure out that this was a complete scam. But hey, man, I dabble on, Madden Mobile. I dabble in that, you know what I mean? Anyway, that's besides the point. To be serious, I mean, it's not serious about joking about. Hey, by the way, and I've told y'all this a few times, and I think before we even get deeper into this, do you like the video? Did you dislike the video? You got to engage with this to keep me going, man. I'm trying to live out dreams to be a big foreheaded dude yelling a mic. So I appreciate you watching this far. All right. Go ahead, subscribe if you want to do this and see me yell more. But more importantly, while we take this little break, like I keep saying, college football 25 is fun. Yo, they could fix nothing else with this game, and I would be fine. We waited 11 years. Just like I told you, they could have done less, and it would have been fine because we waited too long. I'm sorry. That's a good way to bring in the Bucks. But if you think I'm going to keep buying this game, I think, I'm sadly mistaken. I know what EA does. I know what 2K does. I know what these things are. So really, this is more of just me staking my claim that, hey, I've got my college football game. And until EA decides that they're going to make actual improvements, I'm not going to touch it. Back to Ultimate Team. It's broken. Not only is it broken, not only are these crazy gameplay modes in certain players, Quinshon Judkins, Ollie Gordon, what's that big dude, Nick Harbor, Jalen Milroe. Not only are these broken players just breaking the game, Lamar Jackson, and that's fine. It's okay for Brock Bowers to be head tapping people in abysmal and amazing ways. But I think that just the gameplay loop in itself of the nature of this game, which is a very offensive game, right? It's really just, and people have joked about this online, whoever gets the ball last, dog, it's almost impossible. There's people trying to play elite defense that just can't do it. So the people in my comments talking about, oh, well, the defense isn't that bad, you just got to get good. First off, I'm trash, so I don't even have that conversation with someone else, bucko. I'm Garbanzo Beans. Second off, multiple people have complained about just unrealistic pursuit angles, and you can feel it. You can feel unrealistic pursuit angles. So if I'm spending $70, $100 with my extra points, and then another $100 to get the ultimate team points or whatever, to get all these packs, to get all these people, and I lose because of some fumble Rooski like this, I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna have a problem, and I'm gonna have an issue with it. And that is the core issue with the online play. Online head-to-head, it getting spooky, that's fine. Dog, it's not, no one wins anything in online head-to-head. There's no money at play. You're just playing the game with the people, whatever. Now, it's a itself, too. It's going crazy in itself, too. But that just goes back to the nature of the gameplay and goes back to the nature of the glitches that are ever present in this, again, 4-year developed video game, which can we all just agree and say that this wasn't developed? They did not spend 4 years on this game. This is not a polished game. And this is just a sidebar off of the online specific talking points we're talking about. And you know what? This is what we're going to talk about. We talked about Ultimate Team. We talked about online. We talked about online segments. I want to branch off because this is kind of the same thing. The fact that this game feels so unpolished, that's what's got me like, yo, and I get it. Some games have been developed even longer, right? And they've had problems, and games have problems. I don't think we should expect games to not have problems. But when you also look at the new Madden trailers and see that, oh, so this is the same exact situation. It's the same exact setup. Why can't I think of the name? What is it? The system that's run, the software in which that's run the game and all. I can't believe I can't even think of the dang name of it. I can't believe of it. Anyway, the same skeleton, because for some reason, this word that I just said in 8 other videos, I can't remember. The same engine. There we go. Because they're clearly using the same engine in both games, which it seems to be an updated Frostbite engine with new, what's it called? What they call physics. And you know what really makes it mad? It's like, so y'all wasn't putting the good physics in the last game? Y'all saying y'all just discovered some in a year that allowed y'all to put some new physics in it. I'm hard. It's, you know what I'm saying? And even with that, with the new animations that I appreciate, I like, some of them are looking a little, some of them are looking a little, you know what I mean? But let's stay back on subject. Like I said, this is not a polished game at all. Talked about head-to-head. Let's talk about the updates, right? And this is going to be a point of almost optimism, right? Because this is going to be the first college football in a long time, this is the first college football in a long time, but that's going to be able to hopefully benefit off of a full course, not a full course meal, a full course development cycle, and hopefully with people helping it out and you know, other updates coming out. We've talked about, and we'll have a video on it as well, about how the uniforms are going to be updated as well. So there are some teams missing some uniforms that we know are going to be in. You know, Oregon's going to have their uniforms represented. You know, there's going to be some other teams. So hopefully those things get situated. But and I'm hoping that things like the dynasty, road to glory, the weird play calling, I'm hoping these are things that can get fixed, because it seems to be a bit of optimism, and it's an optimistic point to know that, hey, we are living in an era in which this game can be updated. The fact that we need to wait for it to be updated is it's a little silly. It's a little silly. You'd think this would be a little bit more polished. I think that would be. I don't think that's too much to ask for. And in final, they making too much money, dog. Everything I said doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dog. It doesn't matter. Everything I just yapped about, yeah. And if you actually set this video, first off, you're my guy. You and me, like, we're locked in. Like you and me, like, pound it. Yeah, I know my knuckles a little ashy every day. Hey, everybody has a bad day. But yeah, man, let's really talk about it. Now that we've talked about the terrible things, I've kind of recapped some things. I've let you know on the inside the fact that, hey, man, this game's pretty terrible. They're not terrible, but it's just bad in so many ways that you would think with 11 years of hiatus, 4 years of development, and another 10 years of making bad Madden games that they would be able to finally figure out. I apologize for being so optimistic, but I appreciate you for joining this video. They made $500 million, and they're coming with a college football 26 that will be even more underwhelming. But you are amazing. You're overwhelming. I appreciate you for joining me. You be amazing and blessed. Leave a like on this video if you like it, dislike if you don't like it. Next video, I think we're going to be getting back into our road to glory bag. Maybe some more conversations, the updates, comparisons with Madden, and I think just overall college football gameplay. So you be phenomenal, man. We'll see you next time. Be pleased. Be pleased.